So if you can start by telling a little bit maybe about yourself, and then we can move into the presentation.
Okay. Yep. Actually, the presentation is also part of about myself. I have two slides about my introduction.
Yeah, so we can just jump into the presentation then.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. The agenda is actually to briefly talk about myself, my background, and the expertise, a couple of other ones. Then I'll just go into why, to then go into the IOT session proper. My background in terms of leadership, I've been around the last 16 years, and I've had opportunity to manage PR for about 11 years out of the 16 years, and of course, P&L management opportunity. I've got a very good understanding and knowledge of the public and private sector business with proven track record and achievement. Area of expertise include the strategic business planning, multi-million-dollar negotiation, of course, leadership and staff development. I coach people, and of course, I've got good skill in terms of revenue growth, P&L, and operational efficiency optimization. Work experience include group head of telco business when I was in Computer Warehouse Group. That was pretty much like 15 years ago, 14, 15 years ago, from where I joined Galaxy Backbone as a founding business manager in 2007. I proceeded to MTN when MTN was at the point of actually going from the traditional GSM business into consultative selling approach. From there, I joined IBM West Africa. I was in charge of the ITS, Integrated Technology Services for West Africa. From there, I proceeded to Samsung Electronics. I was the director of B2B in Samsung before I joined Schneider Electric 3 years ago. Schneider Electric, I'm the vice president for IT business for West Africa, and tasked with responsibility for go-to-market strategy, sales, service, and I oversee about 5 different sub-BU today, which cut across the retail business, the large enterprise infrastructure business, for data center, for the banks, telecoms, oil and gas. Also responsible for the services, software, so on and so forth in Schneider Electric. I've had up in Manchester Business School for my MBA. I also have MBA in telecoms, making 2 MBA. And recently, I got an honorary degree from Victoria Global University for PhD. Going into the subject of today is the gigantic opportunity in IoT. What is IoT? Internet of a Thing. So I will take you through in the next 20 to 25 minutes thereabout. We'll be talking about why digital density, what digital business, and how, of course, the mindset of an entrepreneur and a startup for digital business. So why digital business? Of course, percentage of connections today and interactions and information per unit of social activities, as you can see on the screen, actually come together to say digital density. Today, we're beginning to see the penetration of mobile phone. We're beginning to see the network growing in Africa, especially, and driving it back home in Nigeria. But to actually explain this further, I would like to take us through the history of global mobile system of communication, global system mobile communication, to actually talk about the history of the mobile telecommunication from the first generation through the second generation, and of course, where we are today in terms of the fourth generation LTE, long-term evolution. So in 1994, back in the days, we had what we call the first generation network. Again, I'd like to adapt this to West Africa and Nigeria in particular. We had what we call NITED back in the days, using the traditional switch, and this was the first generation of network. Again, this was pretty much the gigantic switch at the operator's office, where the entire phone calls across the nation was going through the central switching system. And as we progressed in 2000, we had what we call late 1990 to early 2000. We had the second wave of mobile communication. But just before the 2000, where we have the mobile system of communication, in between the first wave and the second wave, we have what we call the CDMA, code division multiple access, where we have the likes of the multi-links back in the day and Starcoms, where you could actually optimize these to connect to the internet, and the best bandwidth you could get was about the 16 by 64 kbps, and on the rare case you get 128 kbps back in the days, using the analog and dial-up to actually connect to the internet. So in the year 2000, we came up with the GSM mobile phone, which was of course a second generation devices, second generation network. With mobile GSM, we could do much more than we could do initially with the traditional switch. But then there were a lot of shortcomings with the second generation, which was the second wave, in terms of the internet connectivity via mobile phone. And back in the days, 15 years ago, the best mobile phone money could buy was then maybe Nokia 3310, and there's so much less you could do back in the days. So this informed the decision that the amount of investment by the network operator at the back office is not actually as much as it is now. So we had second generation, we could only do 128K by 256 on MMS back in the days. So we got expansion into 2.5G, and eventually we got to, in 2010, we had what we call third generation network, which is 3G, and operator, the regulatory authority has to issue licenses for people to actually get a 3G license to be able to offer a fast internet. And again, 3G could not meet our expectation. We expanded it to 3.5G. We expanded it, of course, to 3.75G, where we now have the HSVDC, GPRS, so on and so forth. Today, we have seen the end of the third wave, and we're talking about LTE now, which is actually the fourth generation in terms of long-term evolution. Why do I need to take us through the history of the mobile telecommunications for us to actually appreciate how much more what can you do with your mobile phone when you are connected to the internet? What are the opportunities there when you connect to the internet? And we're talking about the gigantic opportunity in Internet of a Thing. And the analysis and the industry is showing that there are going to be several billions of devices that will be connected in just a few years coming from now. Now, coming back home, what is IoT itself? According to Wikipedia, it's saying the Internet of a Thing is the network of physical objects, devices, vehicles, building, and other items embedded with electronic software, sensors, and network connectivity that to enable this object to collect and exchange data. The IoT, Internet of a Thing, allow objects to be sensed and to control remotely across existing network infrastructure. This is creating opportunities for more direct integration of the physical world into computer-based systems and resulting in improved efficiency, accuracy, and of course, economy benefit. Now, the underlying factor here, or the emphasis, is going to be on the economic benefit. We, as an entrepreneur and a startup, you need to begin to look at what are the potential opportunity in IoT today. How can we take advantage of IoT today? It takes a different mindset to actually take advantage of this. Now, let's go to the industry analysis and the network architecture. Simply from the screen, you can see the architecture of IoT, and now everything gets connected to the cloud.
Sorry, just we are not moving from the first slide. Did you mean to move from the slides?
I've left the first slide long ago.
Yeah, so let's just pick up from the slide that we are at now, which is, I think.
I'm on slide number 12.
Okay, perfect. Let's carry on.
Okay. All right. So this is the network architecture for IoT, and we're talking about end-to-end, machine-to-machine, and everything, every devices you actually have will be connected directly to the cloud. How does it happen? Why will this happen? I like to use a simple analysis to explain this. We're getting to the age where you iPhone any longer, you only need a mobile device. And a very simple example of how it works is today, I could receive phone call on my Skype, I could receive phone call on my WhatsApp, I could receive phone call via several online applications without necessarily having a mobile phone. So what this implies is that if I can get a device that is connected to the internet, I don't even need a phone number to actually get a good quality telephone discussion. I can have a voice over IP, and I'm going to have the same quality of voice discussion, just like I'm using a mobile phone. So what this tells us is that you don't actually need a mobile phone number any longer. In a few years to come, you could actually do an entire conversation without having a mobile phone number. Now, taking it further, as an individual, what I actually need is an IP address. We're in an era where we have talking about smart TV, smart television, smart automobile, smart fridge at home. Everything around us is getting smart. So which means everything around us is having IP addresses. Everything has an IP address that you could actually now make it a subnet mask from your own main IP address. Which means if I have 2 tablets, I have a mobile device, I've got 2 laptops, I've got a TV at home, I have a smart car on the road, everything will actually take subnet mask from me to have IP address ranges from me, which means I don't actually need a mobile phone any longer. I only need an IP address and several devices. And we're talking about all these devices going into the cloud via a secure VPN, virtual private network, to be able to talk to the cloud. And my device will actually talk to your device without myself necessarily knowing you. The device is talking to device. So this, in a nutshell, is the network architecture of how everything is going into a secure cloud, and we're all locating our IP addresses to be able to talk to one another. Now I'm on the next slide talking about the smart cities complexity around. Now, again, looking at this slide, you could see the enormous opportunity and the giganticness of the IOT.
Sorry,
looking at the smart. Okay.
Can I just move to the slide? We're still at the Internet of Things architecture. Yeah, thanks.
That's number 13.
Yeah.
Nature of the smart city and the complexity around it. We're talking about the environment, making it smarter. We're talking about smart city, traffic management, security management, lighting control, water management, smart bus. Everything is getting smart. The building is getting smart. We're talking about the BMS, building management system these days. We're talking about smart transport industry, smart health. Very, very exciting is about the smart health, the biosensor, the remote diagnosis, and health monitoring. In the future, where we are having end-to-end, you actually don't need to visit the hospital to get diagnosed. You could strap some stuff around your wrist, and doctor will actually pick it up from the internet to actually connect into your body and know the state of your body. I mean, the world is getting smarter. The solution opportunity embedded in all these solutions we're talking about. This is at the elementary stage, it's at the primary stage. It depends on how well an individual as an entrepreneur could actually open his mind, open his heart to actually see available opportunity in the smart city complexity today. We live in Nigeria today where everything is pretty much at the initial stage. So it depends on the first mover advantage, who is thinking ahead of other to actually get there first. And looking at it, going to the next slide after that, from the report from the Cisco IBJ, say there are over 50 billion devices will be connected by year 2020. And how is this going to happen? By emergence of this business opportunity as a result of end-to-end. I already talked about end-to-end. End-to-end simply means machine to machine. It simply means that my car is talking to your car on the road. My car is talking to my TV set at home. My fridge is actually talking directly to Amazon to place order. And in the place that Nigeria, my fridge is already sending requests to Konga, to Jumia, that I'm running out of particular grocery, please deliver to my house. And as that is done, my fridge already automatically be my bank account as well, so that payment is made with my authorization. We've gotten past the era when we get to proper LTE, we're going past the era of me sitting down before my computer to place order online. I'm talking about actually intelligent devices around you being able to sense that you are running out of grocery. My egg manner is telling me that I'm running out of egg. My fridge is telling me I'm running out of beer in my fridge, and it's on my behalf. It's placing order on my behalf to actually say, okay, let me place order on your behalf. So we're talking about over 50 billion devices connected in year 2020, less than 5 years from where we are today. So how well are you positioned to take advantage of this? And the business intelligence also showing, by the time all these are connected together, you need to begin to see yourself, how you position yourself in this gigantic opportunity. So I've shifted to the next 2 slides after that, talking about the digital transformation.
Sorry, we are still at the 13th slide. Can I just move the slides? Thanks. Yeah.
Yes, I'm now on the 16th slide. Okay, so talking about digital transformation, you see the way it appears that the world we live is getting chaotic today. There are amidst of this chaotic situation, there are opportunities that are embedded in it. How can we now transform the world we live in today? How do we bring about the transformation we need today? So that takes us to the next 2 slides. So I was painting a scenario. Let's go to slide number 18. If you're on slide number 18 now. 1.8. Looking at it in 1973, we went a barcode reader. It was a major invention that you go to the supermarket, to the mall with a barcode reader. You could actually, at the point of payment, barcode reader could give you a lot of information about the product you bought. And from there to EDI in 1991, another major invention, down to 1996, the age of millennials, where people could actually go online to shop. And we felt that was the biggest and the best thing that could happen, sitting there in the comfort of your house to actually shop in 1996. But as we go in 2007, you realize there's so much more you could actually do with your mobile devices. You could actually scan a product yourself. You could do a whole lot. You could also shop from your mobile devices as well. But as we progress to 2015, I will show you in the next slide. 2015, you could see a lot of interaction between things coming together. So if you go to the next slide, on the right side, you will see this is a fridge talking to the owner of the fridge is talking to the fridge. Are you on slide number 19?
Yeah. So it's just you who's moving the slides. Yeah.
Number 19. So you could see on the slide number 19 on the right hand, is sending SMS to the fridge. What can I do for you? Fridge is asking, just like today, your Galaxy phone. Galaxy is talking to you that Galaxy is there. What can I do for you? What time do you want to wake up? Do you need to set up the wake up call? So again, you could do that with your fridge. What can I do for you? Any beer in the fridge is responding. You have 3 bottles available. I'll be home in 30 minutes. You could actually send a call to help you to place order for beer. And when you set the code, when you set the command, is automatically on your behalf. Send your request online to place order for free for beer. You could request for 30, 20, 40 bottles of beer through your fridge, actually sending information. So what I'm saying is, your fridge is a thing, is connected to the internet. Your fridge is talking to your mobile device. Through your mobile device, you are talking to your fridge. And your fridge on your behalf is talking to the online merchant or online retail store like Jumia, like Konga, to place order on your behalf. And after that is done, automatically send request to your mobile device to authorize the payment. And you click on yes, go ahead, authenticate the payment. So you begin to see the link between things around you. So when we say that 50 billion devices will be connected, so you're seeing that you as an individual, you have minimum of 10 to 15 devices around you. Your car is smart, your TV at home is smart, your fridge is smart, your devices are smart, everything around you is smart. They have subnet mask and they are talking to one another. So every devices around you, they are taking subnet mask from you, because you as a person, what you need is an IP address, not necessarily a mobile phone number. But an IP address is not going to not have a subnet mask to all your devices. Now let's go to, so what is this business we're talking about? How big is this business we're talking about? What is the size of the IoT as business opportunity? That takes us to the next slide. That's slide number 20. Are you on slide number 20 and 21?
Yep.
Okay. Now, going to slide number 21, you could actually see the enormous applications we have globally today. So this gives you, again, it kind of open my mind to actually see that several millions of applications developed all around the world. What am I doing? Do I have my own application, or can I leverage on other application? So anytime you hold your phone, the question you need to ask yourself is, am I an application consumer or an application producer? Do I consume application or do I produce my own application? How can I take advantage of the opportunity in IoT? So we need to open our mind because we have enough application to go around. More and more application will be developed. We're talking about 50 billion devices connecting in another 4 years from now. So begin to imagine the number of applications that will be developed and begin to imagine the enormous connectivity. And going to the next slide, you could see the analog data compared to the digital data. There is constant reduction in analog data and is taken over by digital data. And this will continue to be the trend. There is no way to go back. So it continues to be the trend. Again, what I'm saying is that this is the digital business. Data will keep increasing. Data of a bank will never reduce because there are transactions going on in banks every day. And as more transactions are going, more data will be produced. And people will have the right to access the data at any time they want to get data of their banking transaction. So this will continue to grow, and people will be accessing this through their devices. Again, through Internet of the Things, it will be made possible because all the bank's data, all the data today, they all reside in the cloud. So let's go to the next slide to actually see how big what we're talking about is. If you go to slide 23 to 24, 23, 24, pretty much alike, you see what I'm talking about in terms of how many companies will be connected by 2020. We're talking about 100 million companies coming to be connected in the cloud, and people will be able to access information anytime online through Internet of the Things and through their devices. We're talking about 1 billion homes all over the world that will be connected. 1 billion homes will be connected. 10 billion people in 2020 will be connected. Today, the world population is almost 7 billion, and we're saying by 2020 and beyond, more than 10 billion people will be connected, and 100 billion things will be connected. 100 billion things, including automobile, mobile devices, your TV set, so on and so forth, will be connected by 2020. And now let's look at the monetary, the financial value of this old jargons about the IoT, Internet of the Thing. What is the monetary value? We'll go to slide number 25. If you're on slide number 25, you could actually see the industry research saying that 4 billion connected people already as we speak. And the value of that in terms of dollar figure is $4 trillion revenue opportunity. $4 trillion revenue opportunity. And we are looking at in 2020 over 25 million applications. Over 25 million applications by 2020, and over 25 billion embedded intelligence system, and little about the 50 trillion gigabytes of data. So begin to imagine the amount of data that we're talking about when we get to 2020. But one thing that is very, very critical and important to me, underlying factor in this particular page, is the $4 trillion revenue opportunity. So as a startup, as an entrepreneur, begin to position and say, how do I take advantage of $4 trillion US? What can I do? How can I come up with ingenious idea? What do I need to do to take advantage of this? And this opportunity spread across different verticals, which the next slide is going to tell us about. Looking at the next slide, which is number 26, you see M2M world of connected devices. This goes across health sector, oil and gas, financial services, transportation. Think of any industry. It's cut across all over the world, different, all the other sectors, all the verticals. It's cut across. The opportunity is so enormous, so enormous, because we're talking about. Now, how do we take advantage of this? The next question is, how do we take advantage of IoT? What are we have seen the opportunities, we have seen the size, we've seen the way it is. So how do we take the advantage of this? I'm on slide number 27 now, going to 28. How do we take advantage of IoT? Going to page 20, slide number 28. We're talking of digital connection, digital interaction, digital information, and begin the opportunities that arise as a result of this. So I said, I count this together. I said the fading barrier between the digital world and the physical world will definitely give rise to the opportunities for forward-thinking startups. So looking at all this amount of opportunities available today, it depends on how individual as a startup or entrepreneur begin to perceive this. It takes a different mindset entirely. It takes a man who could think outside the box. It takes a man who is very innovative, which I will talk about towards the end of the presentation. How innovative are you to actually take advantage of this? So the opportunity are enormous. And I can tell you for sure, if you go to the next slide, if you are trying to replicate analog experience in a digital environment, you're not going to make it. It's a no replication. It's not going to take you anywhere. So like I said, you need to think outside the box as an entrepreneur. You need to begin to think of what can I do differently. The same approach that we've used in the last 5 years will not work now. I'm going to show some examples of some startups who've actually made it to the top today. These were people who never slept at night. As an entrepreneur, you need to have something that keeps you awake at night. You need to create business value, obvious business value. I'm on page 30 now, slide number 30. You need to create obvious business value today. And what I say this is, you need to be able to identify value, create value, and of course, you have to capture the value at the end of the day. So you need to identify value, create value, capture the value at the end of the day. That is what sets you aside as an entrepreneur and as a startup. Identify value, create value, and capture the value. So that's where you now have a unique selling proposition that people all over the world are looking for. And I've tried to make some 2 or 3 examples of startups on less than 8-7 years old. Today, they're actually having business value running to billions of dollars. That takes me to my next slide. That's slide number 31. Again, WhatsApp is a very good example. WhatsApp is a company that was startup in 2009. Of course, the CEO of WhatsApp at the time was looking for a job in Facebook, and he didn't make headway looking for a job in Facebook before he went to actually start WhatsApp with his friend Jan Combe and Brian Action. Now, looking at WhatsApp that started 2009, less than 7 years ago, with average of 55 employees. I mean, with the number of staff, with the staff strength of WhatsApp, we all know that it's a startup. But the little wonder, on February 19, 2014, Facebook announced that it was going to acquire WhatsApp. And he acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion, the largest acquisition to date by Facebook. $19 billion for a company that was less than 5 years. So you can begin to see how application, the Internet of the thing, is transforming the way business is. One would expect the likes of General Electric, Schneider Electric, Nestle, Unilever, with all the infrastructure in this world, begin to ask, what is the value of Nestle? What is the value of Unilever? What is the value of Schneider Electric today? But looking at a company that started less than 5 years, and the value was already $19 billion. Again, it shows that an entrepreneur, somebody who went with the mind of entrepreneur, never slept at night, and he came up with a unique idea. So this further reiterates what I was saying, that you need to identify value, you need to capture value at the end of the day. So this is the way an entrepreneur should begin to think. Now, let's leave WhatsApp now. Let's also go to Uber, the popular Uber. Today, Uber is the 48th most powerful company in the world with worth of $62.5 billion. It's amazing how Uber came without having any infrastructure, without having any major investment apart from the server, and the application is developed all over the world. And this is a company that started in 2009. Again, this is about 7 year or less than 7 year old company. It's a startup company. It's rapidly expanding with over 6,700 employees as a startup company. And within a pace of 7 years, the brand value of Uber is $62.5 billion US. Again, what is Uber doing? What are they doing? They develop applications that make life easier for people. And they're leveraging on Internet of a thing, because for you to get actually connected to the Uber, you need your mobile device or any means to connect to the internet. So we're saying that the IoT is big, the opportunity are there. How do you see the opportunity? Are you an application consumer or application developer? What can you do differently to actually can you do differently to create value and capture the value? So this is the question we need to ask ourselves as entrepreneurs. This is the question we need to ask ourselves as a startup. What are the available opportunities on the Internet of the thing? How do I capture the value from the Internet of the thing? Now let's go to the next slide. I'm trying to bring it back up now, at least for my folks in West Africa. You can relate to Jumia.
Can I just go to the slide? Yeah. Because we are still at WhatsApp. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. I've passed WhatsApp now on Jumia.
Yeah.
33.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So I'm trying to bring it back home to the folks in West Africa now. We all can relate to Jumia. Again, Jumia started in 2012, pretty much like 4 years ago as a startup company. The guy thought differently. He was thinking outside the box. How can I make life a lot easier for people? And looking at the biography, looking at the segment, different segment, people who could actually go online to start shopping online. Again, when I hear people say that the only reason why the business could not kick off is because there's not enough capital. Again, these are people who have a genuine idea, taking advantage as a first mover advantage in Nigeria today. Today, Jumia probably is the #1 online retail store in Nigeria. Again, I'm not here to advertise for Jumia, but one thing is certain is in 2013, Jumia actually attracted a cash injection of $23 million from Millicom in 2013. Again, this is what you need to think about. Yes, Jumia identify value, Jumia capture value, and people could actually see that there is a distinct value from what Jumia was doing. Millicom was willing to inject $23 million US in the Jumia business in 2013. So, as an entrepreneur, as a startup, how much you open your mind, how much of your mindset is actually determine how much value you could capture when we talk about IoT, Internet of the Thing. I have 2 more slides to go. Now we need to be more innovative as a startup. It takes process. You need to transform the creativity into value. It's not enough to have good idea, but transforming your idea into opportunities for you is what actually sets the difference. You could have all the brilliant ideas in this world, but if you know you are not good at transforming it to opportunity, you need to look for people of like mind to actually come up with you. If you are good in technical ability to develop application, you need to look for somebody who has a business mindset to team up with you and to be able to set up something that will actually turn out to what was going to affect the way we live our life today. And it is only the man who actually identify value, create the value, capture it, that is going to go to the next level and be the likes of Jumia, the likes of Uber, the likes of WhatsApp today. So creativity is associating existing idea to create new ones. So multiple of different ideas coming together could actually give you an idea, give you creativity and value at the end of the day. And lastly on this is a talent and inspiration and broad sensing of the landscape to have a reset of experience. So by the time we put all this together as an entrepreneur and as a startup, the limit is beyond the sky. The sky is the limit. Of course, there's a whole lot you could do, but the most important thing is we need to think outside the box to be able to see the opportunity in IoT today. We need to think outside the box to begin to think, what application can I create? What can I leverage on existing application? What can I do differently? We have seen different startups of less than 7 years old, and we've seen that their value running to billions in dollars as we speak today. And it's not a function of geographical location. We see similar experience from West Africa, just right under our nose here. And now going to this last slide, said you need to decide, do you want to go into red ocean strategy or blue ocean strategy? going into red ocean strategy is
Sorry.
you need to start competing with other. Okay.
Can I just go to the slide? Yeah, thanks.
Number 35. Okay.
Yeah.
That's about the last slide. Now, talking about entrepreneur or startup, you need to think outside the box. How can I come up with a blue ocean strategy? You don't necessarily want to share blood by competing with other people. You don't want to necessarily start competing with existing solutions on ground, but being able to think outside the box and come up with an ingenious solution gives you opportunity to actually do in a blue ocean strategy. And I said that opportunity, if say be ready for the future, changes in competitive and social landscape create opportunity. That's this if you take the lead. If you're the first, but if you're trying not to do that, to do what others are doing, risk is you are behind, and it's a major risk. So for an entrepreneur, you need to begin to think ahead of others. You need to think differently. You need to wake up at night. You don't have to sleep all night for you to. You need to actually get busy. You need to get disturbed personally. You need to get something to keep you awake at night to be able to actually think outside the box. So if you're able to do this, you're going to set yourself apart from the rest. And this is one of the ways one can position himself before 2020, when over 50 billion devices will be connected. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for watching and for listening. Thank you. I'll be available for question and answer as the case may be.
Yeah, so let me start with a question from my side. So when we look at Africa, especially West Africa, we have a mix of 2G and 3G, and also feature phones and smartphones. So how does the Internet of Things fit into this landscape, especially in the African landscape?
I think I would like to drive this down home to Nigeria. Today in Nigeria, we are opportune to have 3.5G, although it's not well spread. We have it in some states like Lagos State, like Port Harcourt, in River State, Abuja, few other states. We already have 3G, 3.5G in Nigeria. And I could also see a number of investment from the mobile network operator trying to bring in much more. However, there are a couple of other applications that could actually work on 2G and 2.5G. There are some applications, especially for mobile payment today, that actually work on the traditional GSM without necessarily connecting to the internet. But considering the scope of discussion today in terms of IOT, we have good internet penetration today. You could also see Africa actually has the largest number of mobile device penetration to the internet, not necessarily going to fixed network. So the opportunities are there, and the mobile network operator will keep investing on a daily basis. And we have 3G in Nigeria today.
And then, am I right to think that the most opportunities for the time being is in sort of business-to-business applications? So say, manufacturing devices working together with each other or selling data? Or is it more like the consumer market, especially when we're talking about a market like Nigeria?
So come again, I didn't get that question. Please come again.
So are the opportunities at the time being mostly in business-to-business applications, or also in consumer solutions, especially in a market like Nigeria?
There are more opportunity for B2C than B2B today. Because we're beginning, of course, the major consumers, there are more opportunity for B2C today than B2B. Of course, the B2B opportunity are on the rise as well. But today, I know number of one or two operators launch the M2M application. Is primarily focused at consumer today, and of course, they get information from the business, which is the B2C opportunity. I'll give you a very good example. More than 50% of the mobile automobile you see today on the road in Nigeria, for example, they're actually connected to GPS applications to be able to track your mobile automobile today, leveraging on the back office from the big car tracking company. So from application on your mobile phone, you could actually track your mobile device. You could track your things, FRID solution, and the rest of them, being able to even track your children while they are in the school. So we see a lot of mobile application coming up, and the focus more is on B2C today, not as much for B2B market.
Mhm. And then, do you think that Africa will be left behind in the initial wave of adaptation of Internet of Things, or is Africa going to be sort of the frontier of leading that innovation?
Will Africa is going to be what?
Is Africa going to be like the frontier of leading the Internet of Things adaptation, or is it going to fall behind? Given, I mean, fall behind against the rest of the world, given the lack of connectivity throughout Africa.
But if you look, I think Africa will be at the forefront, and I'll tell you the reason why Africa will be at the forefront. Africa today, if you look at the number of mobile phone penetration in Africa, is actually on the rise, because we have challenges. We have challenge in Africa with fixed network today. So the primary means of connection to the internet today in Africa is through mobile device. You agree with me? Because there are not too many investment in fixed infrastructure like terrestrial capacity today. And Nigeria is a very good example where the mobile phone penetration in Nigeria today is well over 70% today in Nigeria, with over 160 million people, which means today over 100 million people. We're looking at in another 4-5 years, several things will be connected as well, apart from the mobile devices. So for me, Africa will be at the forefront. I don't see Africa being at the back. It will be at the forefront because we, by virtue of environment we find ourselves, the easiest means of connection to the internet is through mobile device. So leveraging on Internet of Things and cloud operation is easier for you to connect to the cloud with your mobile device, irrespective of your location. The only thing we probably will need is more encouragement from regulatory authority to be able to actually lower the barrier to entry for the operator to actually make some major investment, and of course to invest in the expansion of the network into the 4G and LTE as the time goes on. But pretty much I'm confident that Africa will be at the front.
So you mentioned that other devices are going to come online as soon as well in Africa. What devices do you think?
What devices do I think will come on board in Africa?
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, we should be looking at handheld devices. When you talk about handheld devices, it doesn't have to be a mobile phone. But okay, let me give you an example. 15 years ago, when I want to buy a phone, I probably think of a good phone that could make a phone call, that could do a good SMS, and the phone should have a very good keyboard that will enable me to type faster. But to buy a phone 10 years later or 15 years now, I don't need a phone that could send SMS and receive phone call. That's not what is going to influence my decision. What influences my decision is several other factors. So making phone call with a phone is the least of what inform my decision these days, because anything can make a phone call for me. I can use my laptop to make calls. So what I'm talking about is that any device will be suitable for us in another 3-4 years from now. And I'm beginning to see a lot of people going around with a lot of smartphones with touch screen. Again, it doesn't have to be a mobile phone, but it has to be a device that will connect to the internet. So we see more and more smartphones coming into Africa, and it will be on the increase.
Yeah, but so what specific devices do you think? So we're talking about the Android operating system, but then what devices do you think are gonna come online in Africa, in Nigeria?
You have answered the question for me. You know, barrier to entry and the cost of Android is it. Today, Android is taking the lead in terms of the application in the operating. Android is taking the lead in terms of operating software today in Africa, no doubt about it. Most people are used to Android. My kids at home are at home with Android. They are so used to the Play Store, so it's on the increase, no doubt about it. Again, because Android is a lot cheaper to actually use, so most applications coming on in Africa today, it's only natural they will ride on Android.
And then what do you think are the opportunities for startups right now? So, you know, someone sitting in Lagos, what can they start right now in Internet of Things?
Sorry, I didn't get any. Sorry, come again.
So, what do you think are like the obvious opportunities for startups to start a company in right now in say Lagos? What can you start right away? Like what's the obvious?
Okay, for a startup today, you're beginning to look at the value-added service for operator. There are a number of startups coming up. I mean, today the opportunities are enormous and big. So for value-added service organization who actually do ancillary services for mobile operator, is a good opportunity for startup to begin to look at value-added service. And we could also think of the integral services to the value-added service operator, being able to connect the buyer and the seller together, being able to provide value on mobile application. These are all the opportunities. So looking at it from the value-added service provider to the opportunity for startup. And irrespective of the business you're doing, begin to see how your business could potentially go online. Begin to think of how can I simplify doing business with me. I need to simplify doing business with me. And how do I do this? Is to actually maybe create a web-enabled application that could make me connect to my customers, because all businesses are beginning to go the way of social media.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, I think that's about it. We don't really have any questions from the audience. So yes, thank you. I suppose people can get in touch with you if they have some questions after.
Sure, I'll be available.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.